Hello and welcome my friends to The Flying Kick. I am Savino and today I bring to you the review of Water Margin, The Tale of Clouds and Wind, an old 1996 Mega Drive game that was re-released by Pico back in 2015 and now is getting a release for the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation family and Xbox family thanks to the efforts of Qbyte that's bringing classic beat'em ups to modern audiences. Also, I wanna thank Dan for sending me this review copy of the game, but as you guys already know, this does not affect my opinion and so on. So, without further ado, let's see if this game is worth the $5 asked right now. The history of the game is pretty interesting. Yep, I said history, not story. You know, this game was released for the Mega Drive back in 1996 by a Taiwanese company called Neverending Soft and was never licensed by Sega. The game also uses a lot of assets from other beat'em ups that were redrawn and put in this game. You will find here many quote-unquote inspirations from games like Knights of the Round, Golden Axe and even Streets of Rage. Surely by the time this game was released back in 1996, copyright laws were already a thing, but how would you sue a small and unknown company in Taiwan? Probably would have a hard time doing the same today. But let's talk about the game. The story is a little confusing, to say the least. It's something about a light shining from the depths of the earth, heavenly spirits arise, and people and heroes with fear and some vengeful force trying to destroy the heroic outlaws from Mount Liang. As you can see right now, the story is a little confusing, maybe something was lost in the translation. I worked with a Chinese developer a few months ago and I can say that translating from Chinese to English can be pretty tough sometimes, so let's not worry too much about the story. You fight evil, and this is good. The graphics here, different from the story, aren't confusing at all. Actually, this game looks pretty good for a Mega Drive game. There's a nice use of colors and the backgrounds, although in most cases lacking parallax scrolling, are very beautiful. Some levels, like the bamboo forest, are extremely charming. The enemies are also very well drawn, with some familiar faces from other game being skinned here, as you can see on your screen. Your characters are also very well detailed, and although the animations are simple, as it used to be at the time, it works pretty well here with that 16-bit jankness. One thing that caught my attention is the incredible amount of enemies this game can render at once on your screen. The scenes can get very populated very fast, and it's really impressive that you get no slowdown whatsoever. The Mega Drive was truly an insanely powerful machine. The OST is good. I mean, you probably already heard better tunes around, but what you find here is good enough for a bootleg beat'em up. You also get one original music per level, which seriously, it was a little surprising for a game like this. Usually I would expect some recycled music in later levels, but nope. All original. And there are some tunes that are actually pretty good. Take a listen in a couple of them. While the OST is pretty good, the same can't be said about the voices of your enemies. Every time one of them dies, you will listen to a muffled, heavily compressed scream that you keep repeating ad nauseum until the end of the game. I mean, while the devs went above and beyond with the OST, they went nowhere with the sounds. There are only a few voice clips in this game and there are a bunch of different enemies, so be prepared to listen over and over to the same "oh" and "ooh" from your fallen enemies. Yes, it's a product of its time, and to be honest, at the time it wasn't that annoying, but yeah, in 2022 is a little bit, yes. And surely, combat is another product of its time. Simple, with no combos or juggles, what you would probably expect from a game like this. Here you have a jump, an attack button and a magic button that I will explain later. The combat is simple, as I said. You beat the enemies with a sequence of 5 or 6 hits until they fall, rinse and repeat. You also have a jump attack, but its effectiveness will depend on the character you picked. It's a tired and old formula, but it's satisfying enough here to keep you going. But not everything is roses here. Your enemies in later levels become extremely resilient to your attacks, and not only that, but the huge number of enemies can be a little disorienting and you can easily be surrounded by them. There are also some cheap moments when they corner you on the screen and you will have to have some luck to escape this loop of death. It's a game that is better played with 2 people instead of 1 like most beaten ups are. Your magic or special is pretty interesting. It mixes a little of Golden Axe, as you can see by the pose, with Dungeons & Dragons, where you can cycle through your magics and pick the best one. It seems, at least from my initial tests, that some magics are better against some enemies, taking way more energy than any other one. To use them, you will have to find different icons inside the many barrels you will find in the game. They are crystals, parchments, weird spheres, and in no time you will learn which is which, although a small manual would do wonders here. Oh, and since I just talked about the insides of barrels, you will also find gold, which is very important since you get an extra life every 50,000 points, from huge chickens in silver plates and steamy hot rice cakes that will replenish all your life, to small roast chicken legs and little cakes that replenishes only part of it. One interesting thing here that was taken directly from Knights of the Round from Capcom, other than first of all Sprite, it's the ability to chop these items in smaller parts. This is really handy when you're playing with someone else because you can all get food and bonus points from the barrels. The game also adopts the old "you won't finish this game in one rant" model that many games had at the time. You will only get the true ending if you finish the game on the harder difficulty. If you play on the normal, you will get a false ending, and on the easiest you will get a screen telling you to get good. As improvements, the game offers you some filters, a save and load feature that can be used at any time, and a button configuration option that's very welcome because the default configuration is terrible. The jump is B and the attack is Y on the Nintendo Switch, and this is a terrible way to play. You can also pick the number of lives from 1 to 4, and the game offers 9 continuous, which is more than enough for you to beat the game in any difficulty. The game is clearly a product of its time, but it's truly a fun one. The game reminds a lot of Knights of the Round, and this is never a bad thing. The controls are tight, the graphics are very good, the combat is satisfying, and the soundtrack does not disappoint. For $5, this game is an easy recommendation from me. Not only because it's fun, but because I'm a huge fan of what Killbyte's doing bringing these more obscure games to modern audiences. If you're looking for a cool retro experience, you can't go wrong with Water Margin. And that's it for the video, guys. I will be bringing the review of Maximus 2 Nintendo Switch Edition in a few days, so subscribe and all that jazz. I hope you all have an awesome day, and remember, keep it up.